The clock in the living room ticked softly, each second echoing louder than it should in the stillness of midnight. The wind brushed gently against the old wooden window frames, and somewhere outside, a lonely dog barked at the moon. Inside that small, cozy house on Maple Street, Eleanor Hayes, an 82-year-old widow, sat in her favorite rocking chair beside the fireplace. A cup of half-finished tea sat on the table, and a single lamp glowed beside her. She stared at the old rotary telephone sitting quietly on the corner table. It hadn't rung in years, not since her husband Robert passed away 2 decades ago. That phone belonged to him. He loved it. He used to say, "No matter how far I go, Ellie, you'll always hear me through this old phone." She smiled faintly at the memory, but time has its own way of wearing people down. The house felt emptier with each passing year. Her children lived far away, one in Canada, another in Florida, both busy with their own lives. They called her sometimes, sent birthday cards and flowers, but the silence between those calls always felt longer. Tonight was colder than usual. The fire crackled weakly, and Eleanor wrapped the blanket tighter around her shoulders. She leaned back, eyes heavy with memories. Then it happened. Riring. The sound shattered the silence. Eleanor's heart nearly stopped. The phone, the same old rotary phone that had made a sound in 20 years, was ringing. She blinked, staring at it. Maybe she imagined it. Maybe it was just her mind playing tricks. But no, the bell rang again. Riring. Her wrinkled hands trembled as she reached for the receiver. Slowly, she picked it up. ... Hello. For a moment, there was only static, soft and distant, like the sound of rain on glass. Then came a voice, a familiar one. Ellie. Her breath caught in her throat. She knew that voice. It was Robert. She froze, unable to speak. The warmth of that voice wrapped around her heart like an old blanket. "Ellie, can you hear me?" the voice said again, gentle and calm, just like she remembered. Tears filled her eyes. "Robert, is that really you?" He chuckled softly, that same low laugh she had missed for years. "It's me, darling. Don't be afraid." Eleanor's voice shook. "But you died 20 years ago." "I know," the voice said softly. "I just wanted to talk. It's been too long." Her tears fell freely now. How is this possible? But the line began to fade, crackling with static. "Ellie, listen to me. There's something you need to remember." Then the line went dead. Eleanor sat frozen for a long moment, clutching the receiver, her heart pounding. She looked around the empty room. The fire had nearly died out. Shadows stretched across the walls like dark fingers. Finally, she whispered to herself, "I'm losing my mind." She placed the receiver back down and stared at the phone. But deep down, a part of her knew that voice wasn't imagined. That warmth wasn't fake. It was him. The next morning, she told herself it had to be a dream. She busied herself with routine, watering her plants, feeding her cat, and dusting the old family photographs. But something strange started happening. Everywhere she went, she began to hear faint echoes of Robert's voice in the creak of the floor, in the ticking of the clock, even in the radio when the signal faded. At first, she ignored it, but then, that night, exactly at midnight, the phone rang again. Riring. She froze. Her heart raced, hands trembling. She answered. "Hello." Again, the static, then his voice. "Ellie, please listen this time." "Robert, where are you?" she asked, her voice breaking. "I'm where I always am," he said softly, "close to you. I never left." Her tears rolled down her cheeks. "Then why now? Why are you calling after all these years?" He paused, then said, "Because you need to remember what you forgot." "What do you mean?" But before she could hear the answer, the call dropped. This time, she didn't hang up immediately. She sat in silence, clutching the receiver, feeling her heart ache with confusion and longing. Over the next few days, the calls kept coming, always at midnight, always with Robert's voice growing clearer each time. One night, she decided to ask something she had never dared to before. "Robert," she whispered, "are you really gone?" The voice was calm. "You know the answer, Ellie." She hesitated. "Then why do I hear you?" A pause. Then, because you're not done yet. Her heart skipped a beat. Not done with what? But again, the line went dead. Just a little favor from your side, my lovely people. If this story touched your heart even a little, and reminded you of someone you love, you can support us through the PayPal link in the description. Your small gesture helps us create more stories filled with warmth, love, and meaning, stories that keep us all connected, even in silence. Let's get back to the story again. That night, Eleanor couldn't sleep. She opened the box of her old belongings, pulling out yellowed letters tied with ribbon, Robert's love letters from when they were young. She read them under the lamplight, tears soaking the paper. One letter caught her eye, written the day before he died. It said, "If something happens to me, promise me you'll go back to the lake house. There's something there I wanted you to see, something you must know." Her hands shook as she read it again and again. She had never gone back to that lake house since his death. It was where he had his heart attack. She couldn't bear it, but now, was this what he was trying to tell her through those calls? She looked at the clock. 11:59 p.m. The phone started to ring. She picked it up before the first ring ended. "Robert, I remember now. The lake house. What is it?" His voice came softly through the line, full of love and sadness. "Go there, Ellie. Tomorrow, you'll find me there." And then, silence. The next morning, Eleanor woke before the sun rose. The air felt unusually still, as if the world was holding its breath. She sat on the edge of her bed, hands resting on her lap, staring at the old photograph of her and Robert Young, happy, standing by the lake with wildflowers behind them. That was the place where they used to spend summers, where he taught her how to fish, how to laugh freely, how to love gently. She whispered, "I'm going, Robert." Her voice trembled, but there was resolve in her tone. She packed a small bag, her sweater, his old letter, and a flask of tea. The lake house was a 2-hour drive away, but she hadn't been there since his passing. The journey felt longer than she remembered. Trees lined the narrow road, golden leaves falling like whispers from the sky. As she drove, her mind wandered back through decades of memories, birthdays, anniversaries. The first time Robert called her Ellie, and the last time he said, "I love you." By the time she reached the lake house, the sun was high, glimmering off the calm water. The place was quiet, untouched by time. The door creaked as she opened it, and the scent of dust and pine greeted her like an old friend. Inside, the furniture was just as they had left it. The old quilt she had made still hung on the sofa, and his fishing hat rested on a chair. Her eyes softened. "You always left things where I could find them," she murmured. She moved through the house, each step awakening 1,000 echoes. Laughter in the kitchen, the sound of rain on the roof, Robert humming while reading the newspaper. Then, in the corner of the living room, she noticed something she had never seen before. A small wooden box on the mantelpiece, carved with the initials R and E. Her hands trembled as she lifted it. Inside was a stack of envelopes, yellowed with age. On top was a note written in Robert's familiar handwriting, "For Ellie, when you're ready to listen." She sat down slowly, tears already blurring her eyes. She opened the first letter. "My dearest Ellie, if you're reading this, I may not be with you anymore, but I wanted to leave something behind, not to make you sad, but to help you remember that love doesn't end, it just changes shape." She took a shaky breath and opened the next one. "Do you remember our first garden? You said flowers die too quickly, but I told you they come back year after year because their roots stay alive beneath the ground. That's what love is, Ellie. Even when we think it's gone, it's only resting." Eleanor couldn't hold back anymore. She cried quietly, her shoulders shaking, the sound mixing with the soft rustle of the trees outside. There were 10 letters in total, one for each year he had planned to write before he passed. Each one shared a memory, a story, a message, until the final one, where he wrote something different. "Ellie, if ever you feel lost, if ever you need me, close your eyes and listen. You'll hear me in your heart. You don't need a phone to reach me." Her eyes widened. That was the same thing he had said when they first got the old rotary phone. She pressed the letter to her chest and whispered, "Oh, Robert." That night, she decided to stay at the lake house. The air smelled of rain and pine, and the moonlight painted silver paths on the floor. She made tea and sat near the fireplace. The same rotary phone sat on a small table beside her, the one she had brought from home. 11:59 p.m. Her heart raced, and right on time, riring, she lifted the receiver with trembling hands. "Robert." The voice came softer this time, gentle, full of warmth. "Ellie, you found the letters." "Yes," she whispered. "You left them for me. I knew you'd find them when you were ready. I couldn't let you carry all that pain anymore." She wiped her tears. "It's been so long, Robert. I thought I was hearing ghosts." He chuckled softly. "No, love. Just your heart trying to heal." She hesitated. The line crackled, but the voice remained calm. "You were calling yourself Ellie. Sometimes, when grief becomes too heavy, your mind gives you what your heart needs most. A way to say goodbye," she gasped, the truth slowly sinking in. "So, it wasn't really you." Silence for a moment. Then the voice whispered, "I'm always with you, Ellie, just not on the phone." Her tears fell again, but this time they weren't from sorrow. They were soft, cleansing, almost peaceful. "Thank you," she said, "for loving me, for waiting for me." The line began to fade. "Good night, my darling," the voice said, softer now. "Sleep well." Then the call ended. Eleanor sat still, the receiver resting against her cheek. But instead of emptiness, she felt warmth, as if someone had wrapped her in a soft memory. She didn't cry this time, she smiled. For the first time in 20 years, her heart felt light. The next morning, she walked out to the edge of the lake. The air was cool, and the water shimmered like glass. She whispered into the breeze, "I'm okay now, Robert. I'm ready to live again." And when she said it, she truly meant it. She returned home a week later, but everything felt different, brighter somehow. She opened her windows to let the sunlight in, called her children more often, and even joined the neighborhood reading club. Every now and then, at midnight, she would glance at the phone. It never rang again, but she didn't need it to. She had finally answered the call she'd been avoiding for years, the call from her own heart. Grief never truly disappears. It softens, like waves on a quiet shore. And sometimes, healing begins not when we forget someone we lost, but when we finally let them rest in peace within us. If this story touched your heart even a little and reminded you of someone you love, you can support us through the PayPal link in the description. Your small gesture helps us create more stories filled with warmth, love, and meaning. Stories that keep us all connected, even in silence. Thank you for spending your time with us tonight. Before you sleep, take a moment to call someone you love or whisper to someone you miss. Love doesn't fade, it only changes form. Until next time, this is Golden Evening Stories, wishing you peace, comfort, and a gentle night's rest.